Good afternoon and welcome to the first Rotary meeting of March. Welcome to March 1, 2024 meeting of the Rotary Club of Beavercreek. Thanks to Amanda and David for being our greeters today, Eric Marcus and that hand worker for getting everything set up and tickets sold. Thanks to Pete Bales, Mark Weinstein, and Mike Zwick for the great programs. And thanks to Jim Gundel for taking care of the website. And again, I apologize for not updating you on the calendar. Jenny Jarvie, would you come forward for the invitation, please?
Yes. Otherwise, we don't sign our taxes. Let me look like it. We can sign it on Jack. So good afternoon on this 1st of March. Would you please join me in prayer? Oh, Holy Creator, we thank you for the bonds of Rotary between us and our worries behind us, with the goals before us, and no task beyond us, with a firm thirst for knowledge and for a dream of a polio-free world. We are thankful for our Rotary friends and the meal we are about to share. Amen.
Certainly should. Thanks, Denny. Secretary's report, Joe Jenkins.
Yeah, we're at 55%. Couple guests. Shannon.
I have Abby and Brianna here with me today.
Oh, that's it. I'm
And
ready.
then Brian and Karen here today. And then I have my wife here.
Hey, Amanda.
She only came to get the one.
I saw her collect your hot check there. She showed up mysteriously for this meeting.
Hey, now you have to go to my life.
So I will call forward our Sergeant at Arms and Mayor Don Adams. And for anybody who's not watching the slides here, let you know that the position of Sergeant at Arms becoming open. So if you're willing to do it during Don's presidency, or at least once in a while during it, let him know or somebody on the board. Rick, I think, did I see you say you're interested in that?
Be careful, it's like a bid, right?
Sure.
So. Maybe I could trip and fall and not have to worry about this anymore. This is good afternoon. That was really resounding. Yes, good afternoon. That's better. That's better. Today is March 1st. It's the 61st day of the year. That's hard to believe. There's 305 days left in 2024. Today we celebrate Asiatic Fleet Memorial Day. And I don't think anybody in here has to worry about this, but Baby Sleep Day, we always wanted those. In Iceland, it's Beer Day. And it's also Dress in Blue Day. That was a total mistake. It's Employee Appreciation Day. National Dadgum That's Good Day. That makes me laugh because my dad used to say dadgum all the time. Just this sort of thing. So, National Fruit Company Day. I see that word. Company. National Peanut Butter Lovers Day. Oh. National Pink Day. And one that's near and dear to me, National Salesperson Day. National Wedding Planning Day. And after talking to Amanda and seeing the check, plan a solo vacation day. Refired, not retired day. And share a smile day. There's also a couple of things this week. It's Make Mine Chocolate Month. I think that has to go with the month that we recognize women. It's all about chocolate. And if those are interested, Yvonne and Susie Nunez are having their thing. It's all about chocolate. National Cheerleading Week. National Day of Unplugging. National Green Week. And Brandon's not here. National Invasive Species Awareness. Awareness Week and Peace Corps Week. On this day in history, 1692, Sarah Good, Sarah Osborne, and were arrested for witchcraft in Salem, Massachusetts. In 1781, the Articles of Confederation were signed as the outline for the official government of the United States. And that turned into the U.S. Constitution in 1789. In 1790, the first U.S. Census was authorized. In 1792, the U.S. Presidential Succession Act was passed. In 1845, U.S. President John Tyler signed a resolution annexing the Republic of Texas. Oh, that was a mistake. Unless you're from Texas. 1869, the U.S. postage stamps showing scenes were issued for the first time. These pictorials showed a post horse, a rider, a locomotive, a shield, an eagle, and a ship. And in 1872, Yellowstone became the first national park. Yeah. In 1873, E. Remington and Sons in New York began production of the first practical typewriter. Has anybody used a typewriter recently? You're also kind of behind, isn't it? I actually have one. It's one of those big black things. It's amusing. 1875, U.S. Congress passed the Civil Rights Act, but then it was invalidated by the Supreme Court in 1883. So I think it was 1964 or 65 where they rebrought it up. So that was a long time. In 1890, the first U.S. edition of Sherlock Holmes' first story, A Study in Scarlet by Arthur Conan Doyle, was published. In 1932, the Lindbergh kidnapping happened. The 20-month-old son of Charles and Ann Lindbergh was kidnapped in New Jersey. He was found dead on May 12th. In 1936, Boulder, or Hoover Dam, as you might know, was fully completed. And in 1937, the first permanent automobile license plates were issued. In 1957, Kokomo the chimp became the Today Show animal editor. I don't think it's gotten any better since. In 1977, the Bank of America adopted the name Visa for its credit cards. So much for that. Today or this week in our district or our club, we have a partner birthday. Leah Marcus, Eric's wife, has birthday on today, March 1st. We have some member anniversaries. Bruce Brofield, 38 years. Dave Dutz, 15 years. Jeff Fiorita, 3 years. Michael Hadley, 34 years. And Rick Morales, 17 years. You've been up here for that long time. These are some funny definitions, if you will. An arbitrator is a cook that leaves Arby's to work for McDonald's. That is the act of torching a mortgage. You have to think about some of these. Is what a crook sees through. Oh, jeez. Avoidable. What whatever tries to do. Parasites. What you see from the Eiffel Tower. Paradigm. That's 2 positions. The pharmacist is a helper on a farm. Rorschach. What you do to relax your wife. Selfish. What the owner of a seafood store does. Oh, geez. And soon if that. You brought litigation against a government official. I've created a new computer that's almost human. You mean you can think, feel, and reason just like a human would? No, but when it makes a mistake, it blames another computer. Okay, I'm tired. There was an applicant that showed up 45 minutes late for an interview, 45 minutes late for an interview to be a cable installer. The interviewer said, "You're hired." Yeah. Is Google a he or a she? It's a she, no doubt, because if you won't let it won't let you finish your sentence without suggesting. Very good. It's well, it's a man and woman who never met before, found themselves on the upper and lower berth of a long distance train. At 2 a.m., the man leans over saying, "Ma'am, sorry to bother you. Well, will you be kind enough to give me a second blanket from the side table? It's awful cold here." "I have a better idea," she said. "Just for tonight, why don't we pretend that we're married?" "Great idea, ma'am," he replied with great excitement. She says, "Well, get up, get it yourself." See. And last year, I entered a marathon. The race started immediately. I was the last of the runners. It was really embarrassing. The guy who was in front of me said he was second to last, was making fun of me. He said, "Hey, buddy, how does it feel to be last?" I said, "You really want to know?" I dropped out of the race. Then a man walked into a bar on a slow night, sat down. After a few minutes, the bartender asked him if he wanted a drink. He replied, "No, thanks. I don't drink. I tried it once and I didn't like it." So the bartender said, "Well, do you like a cigarette?" The man said, "No, thanks. I don't smoke. I tried it once, but I didn't like it." The bartender asked him if he'd like to play a game of pool. Again, the man said, "No, thanks. I don't like pool. I tried it once and I did not like it. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even be here at all when I'm waiting for my son." The bartender said, "Let me guess, your only son?" My wife told me I was incapable of multitasking, so I got drunk and embarrassed her at the same time. "Joe, this is going to be you one day. My grandpa's 98 years old and he doesn't even use glasses." "Wow, that's incredible." "Yep, he just drinks straight from the bottle." My wife was asking her husband, "What are you doing?" He said, "Nothing." Wife said, "Nothing. You've been reading our marriage certificate for an hour." Husband said, "I'm looking for the expiration date." "Oh, I hate to do this. Sorry." An airline captain was breaking in a very pretty new blonde stewardess. The route they were flying had to stay over in another city. So upon their arrival, the captain showed the stewardess the best place for airline personnel to eat, shop, and stay overnight. The next morning, as the pilot was preparing to crew for the day's route, he noticed the new stewardess was missing. He knew which room she was in at the hotel and called her up wondering what had happened to her. She answered the phone sobbing and said she couldn't get out of her room. "You can't get out of your room? Why not?" The stewardess replied, "There's only 3 doors in here," she said. "One is the bathroom, one is the closet, and one has a sign that says do not disturb." And there was a Sunday school teacher that asked her class, "Does anyone here know what we mean by sins of omission?" The small girl replied, "Aren't those the sins we should have committed but didn't?" A friend of mine and his wife recently got a divorce. They decided to split the house. He got the outside. I got the house. And as always, I like to leave you with a couple of quotes. One of the greatest regrets in life is being what others would want you to be rather than being yourself. And there comes a time in your life when you have to choose to turn the page, write another book, or simply close it. Today's lines, if you like peanut butter, that's $1. If you've ever written a letter of appreciation, that's $1. If you've filled out a census form, that's $1. If you've been to Yellowstone Park, that's $1. If you've ever used a typewriter, that's $1. And if you've ever had a Visa card, that's $1. And if you're not wearing your Rotary pin, that's $1. Hopefully that will get everyone in there.
Yeah, good God.
That's a word.
Now I know our club is not honest because, and those fines are heavy and we are not collecting really enough on this one. All right, who's got a happy button?
Those of you that's been in the club a while, names that you might remember, Mike Train is a customer of mine. He came by and wanted to say hello to everybody. Again, those of you that remember Mike.
Yeah, he was one of the co-owners of Heidi Honda back in the day,
Yeah.
early Rotary. Who else has strange?
I just got back from Honduras, and while I was in Raton, I bumped into the Rotary Club. I was there, and the lady that was working the stand was giving out passport stamps. And she was super nice to cross people, and it drew me a bit closer to Rotary. So
Okay, who else has a happy button? Slim pickets on the happy buttons today. Yeah, everybody got plans from Dawn's. So anybody have any announcements? Okay, so for our Christmas basket or project gets half of the pot here on our ticket drawing. For the right to draw to get a Queen of Hearts, the number is 339039. Every time we look at the buses,
I got it.
I only get to instead of $6. Your wife might let you keep that one, Jeff. No, 5 grows. All right, I'll invite Chris Hadley up to introduce our speaker.
Like that. Oh, right.
All right, fellow Rotarians and VIP guests, timing can be a beautiful thing. Today's speaker was supposed to be here last year, but like most parents in here, he experienced everything that we have experienced. He was held hostage at his home from the germs that his kids brought home and wasn't able to speak then. But as timing has it, today is the perfect day for him to be here. Not only is it first of the month, but this month is National Developmental Disability Awareness Month, along with Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month, which he has a little bit of experience in. I think he'll shine a light on that a little bit longer. So today I have the honor of introducing him whose story and stories are so inspiring that they could light up the darkest night sky like it's the 4th of July. We are fortunate enough to have him on this special day again with this month. So who is this man? In 2021, he started his journey much like that one Drake song, From the Bottom, with 0 experience as a DSP, and now he is here. That decision 13 years ago put him on a rocket ship to a career that dedicated solely on making the lives of people with developmental disabilities the best they can be. His passion has driven him his passion has been driven directly by the relationships that he has built at that very first job in this awesome field. And those relationships and his passion helped him become the director of marketing for one of the best provider agencies in the area. Shout out Port Independence. I'm sure a few of us know who they are. Before transitioning into the public relations manager role for not 1, not 2, not 3, but 10 county boards of developmental disabilities in the state of Ohio. While in those roles, he saw the rapid decline of the number of direct support professionals coming into this field, and it broke his heart, knowing that the people that need those services are not getting the services they need. So did he sit back and do nothing? No. He knew that he had to do something about it. So enter Sophie's Media. With Sophie's Media, he has the ability to use his skills, passion, and years of experience to make a direct impact on the people with developmental disabilities and that serve them. And now he gets to see the incredible stories come alive right before his eyes every single day. He couldn't imagine doing anything else. And today we have him here to help us pause from our hectic day-to-day activities and help us remember the why behind what we do, both at work, in life, and here at Rotary. So please welcome founder, husband, father of three, Cedarville University grad, and dadgum one handsome son of a gun, Johnson.
Wow. That probably is the best introduction that I've ever received. That's incredible. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen so you guys can see. Thank you guys for having me here today, Chris. Thanks for that incredible introduction. My goal today is to help, hopefully just inspire just a little bit for you guys to wake up tomorrow and continue your life of service. This is my first introduction to the Rotary Club, and I've done some research and I've learned a little bit more about it. And it's incredible to be in a room full of people that have dedicated your lives to service of others. I think it's a rarity, especially in my generation, to live a life that is selfless, to not just want to build ourselves up and do what's good for us, but to live a life for other people and to help others grow and help other people do that. And everyone in this room, just by being a part of Rotary Club, you have made that impact and you've made that connection to service. And I'm just honored to be in a room with people that have chosen to do that. So thank you for being those types of people. So today, I'm going to share just quickly a little bit about my journey, how I ended up to where I'm at today, and then give you at least a little tool that you can take with you to help remember why you do what you do. So a little bit larger version of what Chris just said. I am John Silpies, and I started as a direct support professional 13 years ago. And I just finished up Cedarville University. I was looking for a job, and I was selling roofs for a friend of mine who owned a company, and I was terrible at it. I'm afraid of heights, so I would get on the roof and like shaky around, and I was terrible at it. What I was really good at was going and having like 3-hour conversations with little old ladies in their living room. Like I love, terrible at selling roofs. So my wife and I were recently married, and my wife was like, you need to actually have a job that pays you money. $0 commission at a job that you're terrible at is not good. So I started just looking at jobs online. I was trying to find just that stepping stone position where I can get a paycheck and then find what I really want to do. And I came across this job in Fairfield County Board of PD, out just east of Columbus, for a direct support professional position. I had no idea what that meant. All it said was come and change people's lives. And I was like, all right, I'm in. Like, I love doing that. No idea. I had no background in disabilities, didn't know what I was walking into. Took me on my first day on the job, and I was working a day program, and they took me into the room, opened the room, and there was a 6-foot naked man chasing one of the staff members with a microwave. And they kicked the door, and they're like, you can't go in there. And I was like, I know, I can't go in there. I'm not doing that. So I went home, and the fact that I'm standing here today telling you this story is that I'm more afraid of my wife than I was of a 6-foot naked man. And I went back the next day, and I am so grateful that I did that. For the first time in my life, I built relationships with people with disabilities for the first time ever. I learned an unconditional love that I had not found anywhere else in this world. I'll tell you a story about Patrick here in a second, but Patrick did not care where I came from. He didn't care who I was. He didn't care what my background was. Patrick loved that I showed up and I taught him skills, and I took him to the YMCA, and we went swimming together, and we did fun things together, and we became really good friends. There was an unconditional love there that I've never experienced before, that I found in this field. Second, there's just this joy that's in the developmental disability field that I had not found before. If anybody has a right to have a negative perspective of life, if anybody has the opportunity to look at life and say, this isn't fair, it's people with disabilities. I have friends who have cerebral palsy who are all there in their mind. They know exactly what's going on. They're so intelligent. They have college degrees, but they can't speak and they can't move. They can't get out of bed on their own. And if anybody has a right to have a negative thought about life, it's them. And they would wake up every day and I would show up at work and they would be laughing and they would have fun and we would joke. And there was just this joy that taught me about what it really looks like to have pure joy in life, regardless of situation. And I knew I wanted more of that. So fell in love with this job, became a DSP, also was an independent provider where I started my own independent provider company where I was helping individuals on my own as well. And this picture was taken about a year ago. And this is Patrick. This is one of the very first people that I was ever able to serve as a DSP back 13 years ago. And I was going to Columbus for a meeting, and for whatever reason in my mind, I thought to text his mom. I had her phone number in my phone still all these years later. I didn't know if it was her number or not. Texted her, said, hey, I'm going to be in Columbus. Is there any way I can come by and just see Patrick? She said, yeah, we would love that. So I pull up in the driveway, and it had been years and years since I have seen Patrick. So I didn't know if he would remember me, if he would know who I was, whatever that was. So I pull up in the driveway. And Patrick, who is mostly nonverbal, comes out of the garage and sees me. And one of the very few words that he could say was John Boy, is what he called me back in the day. He nicknamed me John Boy, yells John Boy, runs out and hugs me and just starts crying. And in that moment, I realized what you guys also would realize is that we don't even understand the impact that we're having on people's lives in the way that we live with homelessness. Patrick, to me, was like a point in my life. He was a part of my story, but it was only for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. He was a part of my journey, but I moved on. I had friends, I had family, I had moved cities, I started a new life. Patrick was just a part of that. To Patrick, I was like a brother coming back home again and like seeing you for the first time. And I realized, man, we don't even know the impact that we're having. You may never even see it. And especially when you're in a life of service, you do a lot of stuff behind the scenes, whether that's giving $1 or traveling and going to places and serving other people. You leave and you may never ever see the impact that you're having on this world and the ripple effect that it has. So regardless of anything else, I want you guys to really understand, all of you in this room has had an unbelievable impact that you don't even realize. Some of you a whole lifetime, and the ripple effect of children and grandchildren and community members and how that has rippled out. You have changed this world. And so regardless of anything else, I just want you to remember that impact that you're having. Even when it feels like, I don't know, like, am I even doing the right thing? I don't know. You are having an impact on people's lives. And so, changed my life. And I'm going to share just one story because my company is a marketing firm. We shoot videos as part of my storytelling. Whenever I was a DSP, I would bring in my camera because I love shooting video. I don't know if it's legal or not. And I would bring in my camera and I would shoot videos just of the people that I was serving and try to tell their stories. And so this was one of the very first videos that I ever shot back then, 13 years ago when I was a DSP. So I'm going to show you this real quick.
15 years old when I met him. And I was huge. I started by telling her she wanted. Yeah, I reckon she where she wanted to. I just go along with her. I makes me happy just to be with one girl. To tell you what, I love this girl. Treat her nice. Treat her nice like I do release. I treat release nice. So, you know, big thing to me. Makes you happy. Makes you good. Thank you. We have a really good experience. With that all.
Yeah, so Bernice and Rick, imagine being a young man who's been married for 6 months at this point. And you meet Bernice and Rick. I come in as a DSP thinking I'm gonna come in and change these people's lives. They need my help. And I walk into there as a young man who's newly married, and they show me what real love looks like and what a long-term relationship looks like. I mean, I have in the back of my brain, I've been married since 2011. Just go along with her. Just let her do whatever she wants to do. Like that has helped my marriage for these years. Just that one piece of advice has helped me. And so it was just a picture of how could I not be involved in this field? How could I not? It was doing something in my life and changing me as a human being in ways that I had not experienced before. So from there, my background was in marketing and videography and website design. So my wife got pregnant with our first daughter. We lived in Columbus. And then when our first daughter was 4 months old, we found out that my wife was pregnant again. So wild times. And my parents lived, or her parents lived in Centerville. So we knew, how are we going to raise these two kids? We're brand new parents, and now we have two out of nowhere. So we moved to the Dayton area. And I got a position as the director of marketing for Toward Independence, which is based out of Xenia, Ohio. And I learned so much around the provider world, learned how to recruit people, how to find people, raising funds and running their events and all of that. From there, I became the public relations manager for West Central Ohio Network, where I was doing PR and marketing for 10 different county boards of developmental disabilities here in the state of Ohio. And then during the pandemic, as many of us did, I was doing some soul searching. I saw CEOs of provider agencies struggling to find people, struggling to provide the service to people with disabilities. And I knew that if we could just tell the story of this industry, it would change lives. And so I went home to my wife and I told her, I think I'm going to quit my government job to start a company in the middle of a pandemic. And it was about this silent whenever I said it. But I knew I had to. I knew it was what I was meant to do. I knew that there was an industry of people that deserved to have their story told, and it wasn't being told in the way that it deserved. And when I was working at my government position, I had kind of my box that I could help, but I knew if I was on my own, there were no bounds to who I could serve and who I can help and support. So that we're going into our third year as a company now, and it's been an incredible journey of doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, exactly where I'm supposed to be doing it. We now serve in the entire state of Ohio. We're in Virginia, we're in Kansas, we're in Illinois. We are doing statewide campaigns for the state of Ohio now for the Department of Developmental Disabilities. We're just wrapping up a large awareness campaign in Virginia that has over 1 million impressions online just since December, sharing what an inclusive world looks like. And all of that has just been a wild ride of being able to take that risk and be able to help and support other people. I share all of that as a model to show what it means to tell your story to others. We all have stories and journeys that we've had a part of our life, and the way to influence the next generation of people who are going to serve and people who are going to step up and support is your own journey and your own story to share. And so I'm a very positive person. I'm a glass half full kind of person, but I'm going to bring you down just a little bit, but I promise to build you back up. So this is something that I've learned over time, and I'm sure a lot of people have learned this as well, is that life is just hard, and it's probably not going to get any easier. And what I mean by that is I always thought, well, if I have the kid, then my life will feel complete or I'll feel fulfilled. If I could get a house in that neighborhood, then I'll feel like life will get easier. If I could just make just this salary here, then I'm going to feel pretty good. Then life's going to get easy. And what I've realized is that when you get all of those things, it does not, it actually makes it more complicated. The more children, which you said I have 3 kids, my wife is now pregnant with our 4th kid. I know how it works, but I didn't think it would actually happen. So it just becomes more complicated. When you get the job that you've been hoping to get, it's awesome. It becomes more complicated. When you get the success that you're hoping to achieve, it becomes more complicated. And life is just a difficult thing. And if you don't remember why you wake up the next morning and continue, it can get burnt out. You'll lose your focus. You'll lose your reasons. You'll start chasing after other things. You'll say, well, that didn't fulfill me. Maybe I go after this thing. And that didn't get me. Why don't I do this? And so I have a list of things that just live in most industries that we can, I'm sure you can add to as well. Life and work balance is just difficult, especially with young kids. And as you grow up as well, like the work-life balance that we have to have in order to have success in life, in the business world, and also be able to be a good father is a really difficult position to be in. To be a mom who's trying to decide, do I go into the workforce or do I stay home with my child? Like that work-life balance is so difficult in the world that we live in today. Our industry and all industries, it's hard to find quality staff nowadays. Us young kids, we can't even get out of bed by 11 a.m. How are we going to get them to do any job once they get here? And so, like, finding staff is just hard. And once you find that staff, they're gone because they're looking for that next thing. They can get $1 more an hour by going somewhere else. So they're gone. That's a difficult thing. Working with people is just messy. I mean, think of your own relationships. When you're even work relationships, it's a messy thing because you're there for the good, you're there for the bad. If you see potential in someone, you're going to dive into their life and try to help them find that. But that means you're going to be a part of the difficult parts of their life. And I think with all service, when we choose to be selfless in our life, all of us are here because we have that calling to serve others. And so that means that there is a weight to that calling. There's a weight and an emotional and spiritual weight to choosing to serve others that we're carrying all the time. We can't turn it off. Whenever we go home, if we met someone at a grocery store and we're hearing their story, or we gave $1 to somebody, or whatever that looks like, you go home and you're thinking about that. How can I help? How can I get involved in that? Like, the weight that comes with wanting to serve others is always there. And the end is just, there's no fix for that. That's just the nature of life, is just, if we're choosing a life of service, this is just the nature of it. And I have to use memes because it just adds a little humor, but you know, we're all good when the boss is asking, or when that next thing happens that's really difficult. How are things going? Like, Rambo is holding on, like we're okay, but I don't know if we're gonna make it to tomorrow. And so I'm sure a lot of you can relate with kind of those feelings of, is this even worth it? And so my question is, we have willingly signed up for this list of things. We've chosen to be selfless, we've chosen to have service, we've chosen to work in the industries that we work in, we've chosen the jobs that we have, we've said yes to things, and we've willingly signed up for this whole list in life. So my question is, why? Why are you still here? Like, why do you keep doing it? Why is it worth fighting for? Life would be so much easier if we could just turn all those things off and just say, you know what? Most people don't live like this. Most people aren't thinking selflessly. Most people aren't trying to serve others. They just live for themselves. And it feels like that would be so much easier. So today, I just want to ask you that question and have you guys wrestle with that question of, why are you still here? And why do you still choose to do what you do? And I believe that it is your story. Each of us have our stories and our journeys that brought us to where we're at today. Whenever I am in those fires, when I'm in those moments, I don't know if you know or not, when you quit your government job to start a business, it is not roses. Like, it is not an easy thing to do. And when I'm in my office and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to, what is the right answer? I don't know. If I choose this, I have now 8 people that are relying on me, which I know is a small portion, but to me, that's a huge thing. 8 people that are relying on me for their livelihood and for their children. And this decision today could affect those people's lives. And the thing that always drives me to wake up and do it again tomorrow is remembering Patrick, is remembering that Patrick deserves to have the best life possible. And so I'm going to do what I can today in order to make the lives of people like Patrick better. I believe each of you have that story as well. You're not here by accident. I believe that you're here for a reason. You started your journey, and whatever your journey looks like, because you had a reason to do that. I believe that you stayed on that journey because you had purpose. If you didn't have purpose, there's no way for you to make it long term. You would have quit a long time ago. Your story also has power and influence. I think anytime that I can get in a room full of people that have gone before me, I look at this table right here, and what I see is like knowledge. Like, how do I soak up as much as I can learn from the generations that have gone before me? Your story has power. Your story, you've had this lived experience. And if you live with an open hand to like share with the next generation, to share with those around you, it would influence other people, I think, in a really powerful way. It also shows perspective over time. Whenever I am having those moments of like frustration or this fire or this mountain that I don't know that I can climb, the thing that I have to remind myself is up until this point, things have worked out. Like, they haven't worked out the way I thought they were going to work out. It may look completely different than what I thought was going to happen. But as of right now, I woke up this morning. I still have breath in my lungs. I'm eating well. Like, I'm fine. We've made it this far. And so I need to just believe that moving forward, it's going to work out. It may not be the picture you want. It may not be the picture that you have designed for yourself. But moving forward, I have to believe up to this point it's been okay. And it's going to be okay. Even if it's a dumpster fire, it will still be okay. We will make it. And then if you know where you came from, you can start to write your future. I think a lot of us, we can look in the past, we look at the story that's already happened. We can't change that. That has already happened, and we get stuck in our past. And so what I want to do is take us from looking at that journey, reminding us of why we do what we do. But then how do we use that to decide where we're going to go? So we don't have a goal of where we want to go, and we hang up our hat for that last day. How do we know that we succeeded? How do we know that we did that? And so I believe each of you have those stories. I think each of you have that journey. And if we can remember that journey, it will change the way that we work tomorrow. It will change the way that we live tomorrow and change the way that we do that. So that's great. How do you do that? So each of you have this card on your table. And this is just a tool that you can take with you and kind of go through this practice together. This is a snippet of a longer workshop that I do specifically for the disability field. So there's a couple things on there that's just around disability, but you can apply it to your life as well. And really, these are the questions that I have found that have helped me craft my own story and have helped thousands of others create their own journey as well. And it's, why did I even do this in the first place? Wherever you're at, in whatever industry you're in, whatever job that you have today, whatever choice that you've made to serve in your life today, why did I even start? What is your origin story? How did you do that from the very beginning? Name a person, and I have name a person with a disability that impacted you. It doesn't have to be a person with a disability. Just name a person at the very beginning of your journey that impacted you. It could be your mom or your dad. It could be that employer that took a risk on you. Someone who saw something in you that you didn't even know that you had, or you didn't believe that you had in yourself. How did you get your current role today? Whatever that looks like. What was your career journey? And who gave you that leg up? All of us aren't here on our own work. We all have relationships that were built. We all had people that took chances on us. And what was that career journey look like? What's something that we're proud of that we accomplished? This is, I have found, really hard to answer when you're in either the service industry or when your life is based on services, because we don't want to pat ourselves on the back. We do it. We want to just kind of stay in the shadows and just be behind the scenes. But unless we identify what we're proud of, it's really important to do that, because that will motivate you to keep going as well. It's okay to be proud of the accomplishments that we've had in our life. And then what brings you joy in work or in life? For me personally, I love shooting video. And I love being out in the homes. And Chris even knows when I first started my company, I was by myself. I got to go out and film every week. I was out doing 4 or 5 videos all on my own, going out in the homes. I loved it. And then as you grow, my role is now not to shoot video. My role is to manage the people that get the work done. And I found that I was losing passion because I wasn't doing the thing that I love. And so what I had to do was once a month now, which is a manageable amount of time. Once a month, I'm going out and I'm going to shoot a video for our company. I'm choosing that. And there's no, it's going to happen no matter what else is happening in life, no matter what other deadlines we have, because I know that that is the thing that motivates me to do all of the other work that I don't like to do as much. And so think of that for your own lives. Think of that for your work, your career, even in your life. What are those things that bring you joy in life? And then how do you manageably do that in your life in a way that just sparks that joy as you continue to serve? And then lastly, all of us are going to have our last day someday. All of us are going to have that ending of our life. And what is the markers that are going to tell you that you are proud of the life that you've done? My biggest fear, and it's what drives me to try to do as much as I can to serve and to give to other people, is because I don't want to get to the end of the life and acquire all of this stuff and feel really good about myself and regret my decisions that I made in my life. And so I know for me personally, my goal is how many people can I lift? How do I raise all ships? How many lives can I touch with the gifts and talents that I know that I've been given that is really a gift to me? How do I just be like a conduit to serve other people? And how many lives can I touch given the gifts and talents that I've been given? And so that's my goal for whenever I get to the end of my life. Have I done that? Or was I close-fisted and did I just try to get everything that I could get for myself? And that's a tough thing. But as I'm looking at the decisions that I make in my life, that's what's driving it. Does this decision meet this goal, or does this decision go against my goal? And so that just kind of gives you some framework to be able to start to craft your story. And then when you flip it over, there is just this real quick, like 1-word answers, 2-word answers that you can then take all of those answers that you wrote down from those first questions and just create reminders so that when life is hard tomorrow, when you wake up tomorrow and you still have all the same fires that you have to put out, you have all the same things that you have to figure out, you can have this reminder of, oh, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. So this is why I chose this. And I personally chose it. I willingly chose this. These are the people in my life that helped me along the way. I do have joy because of these things that I do. And then lastly, at the very bottom, it does sound like hippy dippy or whatever, just like if you live with gratitude, you see these memes all the time. If you just live with gratitude, it'll change your life. But there's a reason why. Like it's true. I have found that if I look at that long list of struggles that I have in my life, and I focus on that, life will feel hard. But if I look at my life with gratitude and thankfulness, I can then face that day. So I think of Patrick, who can't speak very well, who needs help walking. I'm thankful that for the things that I take for granted. I can come here, I can walk, I can drive myself to this thing right now, and I take that for granted. So I'm going to choose to be thankful for that. And I'm trying to pass that on as well. So I've got 3 kids, 1 on the way, 8, 7, and 3 years old right now. And I've got bags under my eyes. Every night we do our prayers and we have to say one thing that we're thankful for every single night before we go to bed. And some days that's really hard to do. Like you think about your day and you're like, there's literally nothing. But then when your daughter looks at you and said, I'm thankful for that food you made for dinner tonight. You're like, it's so simple, but you were able to think of something. I need to think of something too. My son, I'm trying to teach him, he's 3 years old. He only is thankful for Spider-Man and his Nana and Papa. That's it. Every single day is just Spider-Man, Nana and Papa. And so I'm like, all right, he knows what he's thankful for. Hey, he's got it. And if that is what makes them happy, go for it. But I do believe this is just a reminder on that card of today, I'm gonna choose to be thankful. Like if we have the complications of the responsibilities that we have in life, it's because you're in a position that has allowed you to have those complications. I was having this conversation just yesterday about taxes. It's tax season, so awesome. And I was talking about I have to pay my quarterly taxes, I have to write that check, and off it goes, and how painful that thing is. And the guy looked at me and said, if you have to write a check like that to the government, that means that you earned something that year. And that was just like a flip in my switch of like, okay, instead of being angry about sending this check off, I can be thankful that I'm in a position that I can send this check off. That means that I earned something this year. And just the more that we can take those negatives and flip them in our brain to a positive, I think it changes the way that we live our life. I do have one more video just to connect you to the developmental disability field and why I do what I do. Julie is a woman with a developmental disability who lives an incredible life. And really the only way that she's able to live the life that she's living is because of services like Choices, because of services like Toward Independence, because of the people who come around here that help her live those lives. And for you, I want you to think of somebody in your life that's like a Julie, not someone, it doesn't have to be someone with a disability, but someone in your life who has benefited from you being in their life. Think about that and put Julie in that position just to remind yourself of the impact that you're having. So I'm going to share Julie's story just because I love Julie and it's good for my heart to listen to her story.
I am a very outgoing person. I'm very active. I go to a lot of sporting events, football, basketball, anything, softball, and they call me their #1 fan. One time I was running a couple minutes late and they're like, wait a minute, we can't start, they can't throw the ball until I show up. And I guys, can't do that. I started painting about, I want to say 6 years ago. That's when I lost my mother. I like to paint flowers and butterflies. Those are my mother's 2 favorite things. It helps me express my feelings when I'm painting. It felt like my mother was here with me. I'm very grateful and blessed that I have all my friends, my family, and talent, everything. For this beautiful out, I walk by here a lot, and it's like, wow, what a beautiful place. And I see some of my stuff outside. I'm looking, and I never thought that my stuff will be good enough for people to want to buy or look at anything. It just makes me so happy knowing that somebody likes something I do, and I really don't know. Just makes me extremely happy. Don't ever let anybody tell you you can't do it. If they tell you you can't, try harder, prove them wrong.
Yeah, so she has so many things that we can learn from. One is that gratitude. She has loss in life, just like all of us have experienced. She has difficulties in life, but she finds joy in just walking on the sidewalk and seeing the artwork that she gets to do. That's what makes her happy. That's what brings her joy in life. She's had that tragedy. She also has had to overcome things. When people tell you you can't do it, which people with disabilities are told all the time what they're not going to be able to do. All of us have had that in our life as well. I've been told that I'm not going to be able to do this or not going to be able to do that. Prove them wrong. Try harder. And our job is not only to do that for ourselves, but to do that for others around us as well. Whatever that is. Find that person who's been told they can't do something, and you make it your job to figure out how to prove those people wrong, to give them the life that they never thought that they could have. I think we can all learn from that of just living with gratitude and living with just that thankfulness for just the small things in life, regardless of the way that life is going, remembering why we do that and that we have an opportunity. We woke up today and we have another opportunity to do that. So lastly, if you want to connect with me, my email is john@silpiesmedia.com. We do videography, website, all kinds of stuff. We work in the service industries. We want to just help shine a light on people and the amazing things that people are doing. And that's about it. That's all I have for today. But thank you so much for letting me be here today. Yeah, I'd love to answer questions. Yeah.
So that we really do try to capture stories, I mean, from especially a historical standpoint for the county. And we do have an oral history project that if any of you are interested in sharing your story from the voices of Greene County, and our staff are trained to interview you, walk you through the process, and then we actually upload it onto our website. But it helps us try to capture the history. There's so many impactful things that are rich in this county.
Yeah, I mean, the storytelling is the thing that changes cultures. It's what gets people connected, and the more that you can do that, I think it's just so powerful. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. Any other questions from anyone? Yeah.
So with the videos and the content that you collect, what does that typically use for? Where does that go?
For each customer, it's a little different. We do a lot of recruiting, so we are trying to get people to come and join this field, whether that's for jobs or just awareness around that. The latest projects that we've been doing is creating, like the one in Virginia has been a statewide campaign around awareness, and it's been about inclusion. So we created resource guides for employment, for housing developers, and for just general population. So our goal for that campaign was to get people to first realize, why should I even care about the disability field? And if I do care, what am I supposed to do? So then we built a website, videos, social media campaigns, and the goal is, here's some practical ways that you can live your life to be able to do that. They can take a pledge in order to say, I'm choosing to do these things. But most of what we do is around marketing for those provider agencies or those county boards. If they have a levy that's coming up, we help them provide the content to pass those levies and to educate their communities in order to do that. But it's a lot, it's different for each customer and situation that we're in.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
And has become our custom. We'll donate a book on behalf of our speaker. We'll have him sign it. This is Invented, Turn Your Small Idea into the World's Next Great Invention.
Okay.
So
That's great.
all about positive stuff here today. Okay. Do we have any announcements? So next week's speaker will be our elected Greene County prosecutor, David Hayes. Jonathan Hebrank and Mark Weinstein are our greeters. Please keep an eye on all our outlets for upcoming events. Anything else for the good of the club? Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
Everybody have a great year.
Try. Everything was toward the strengthening of the Lord. Like this, the morning in the march. Just the false church. Right, stop. What? Ending.